Cheat Code.
Hey everyone, welcome to Pickleball Cheat Code, the show for competitive pickleball players who are looking to level up their game. We focus on advanced strategies for experienced players, stuff only the pros really know. I'm Brodie Smith. I'm a 5.5 plus level player and a coach, and I'm here with my co-host, Tanner Tomasi.
Hey everyone.
Tanner is a 6.0 plus rated player and an APP gold medalist. Today we're covering the Pickleball Meta going into 2026. And then at the end of the episode, we will be discussing our personal 2026 New Year's resolutions. If we've done anything to improve your game, share the show with your pickleball community. Okay, cool. Before we go into it, let's define what meta means, like the meta in pickleball. So, Pickleball Meta is the trends that dominate high-level play and essentially where the game is trending. So like what the new things are going to be. Example, like the meta in basketball today is the 3-point shot. Didn't exist in the 90s, for example. But that's what the meta has become thanks to players like Steph Curry. I don't know why I keep mentioning Steph Curry on this podcast. Anyway, the meta is what the top level players are doing in an individual sport to pioneer it and transition it into different directions based on where the game can go, essentially, which is really exciting. And pickleball has been changing like crazy in the past 4 years. But today, we're going to be discussing what will be different, what will be new going into the new year here just around the corner in 2026. So let's talk about it. Like, for example, Ben Johns, 2 years ago from today versus where he is now. Like, what's different? Tanner, give me a breakdown. Like, what has changed in Ben Johns' games, just to give a high-level overview of what's changed in pickleball?
I think what's changed is now a lot of people use two hands for a lot of the shots, which back then they never did. And then everybody attacks from a lot more everywhere on the court. A lot of drops. Now it's a lot of drives. A lot of speed ups. It was just only dinking. So I think just more offense is the meta of today's game, and that's kind of what changed, just offense.
Here's my question, though. The meta we've been seeing throughout 2025 has been more offense and things have been flying. And so much of that is because of hotter paddles, things are getting crazy, faster balls too, like the Lifetime, the Vulcan, going from like Franklin before. I know you play a lot of Franklin and APP, but different balls too really changed the different play styles of the games. Do you really think that things are going to get even hotter going into 2026? Is the game going to get even faster? What do you suspect? Where should players be preparing themselves going into the new year based off what you're thinking here?
I don't think it'll get much faster, probably, because I know the UPA or whatever cut down the spin recently that's allowed. For like, there was just a tournament that happened a while ago. So when this episode airs, it's going to be a super while ago. But like, a lot of the paddles were failing because they like halved how much grit was allowed. I think like the level of grit allowed was like similar to like the APP. I don't know if that's still the case or not, but I know the grit was like,
grit's been getting cranked up on PPA, I think, but everywhere else it's been getting lower. So the difference between UPA, were you talking about UPA? Because I've seen UPA grit paddles. Some of them are like sandpaper, and then the non-UPA ones are like butter, for example.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I don't know. I thought the UPA or the PPA, whatever, was toning it down, but maybe I misheard it or something.
I think it might be USAP that's toning it down, which is
I'm not sure. You're probably right. I just know, like, I think that everybody understands it could get dangerous. Like, I'm going to start playing in glasses. I have the carbon glasses coming in. I'm excited to try them out. I'm going to
play without a glasses guy now.
Maybe. I'm worried I might get hit in the eye. I got hit in the eye once.
It's a serious thing with the pace of the game. I almost got knocked yesterday, and the most common deflections or the ways that I see people getting hit in the eye is it's coming off like your partner's paddle.
Yeah, that's it.
I almost died. It felt like a ball just flew off. Her name's Danica. Flew off her paddles, the tip of her paddle, off of a speed up from the other player, and it just was an inch from my eye. Our eyewear, the carbon eyewear is amazing, the drift and the pivot glasses, but for some reason, I can't wear eyewear, even if I'm playing like beach volleyball and the sun's directly in my eyes. I can't have it.
I never wear it.
It's a personal thing. I don't know why. I can't do it. It's nothing about the looks. It has nothing to do with The safety, I just like, I feel like I can't see as well personally, but I know people swear by it, and I probably should be wearing it. And if I'm raising kids in this pickleball era, I'm making them wear glasses. You know what I mean? More about the safety of our future of pickleball. So that's just me.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get the carbon glasses coming in. I think I'm gonna take out the lens and just try it with no lens. Because I'm the same way. I don't like playing with. It just messes depth perception. All glasses do. It's just hard.
There's clear lenses, to be fair, so you can get the pivots and the drifts. I think both with clear lenses, so it won't affect depth perception. So that's actually, now that I realize that and say that out loud, I should probably be doing that too.
And there you go. I think I always played paintball like my past, and I had a clear lens there. And it's the same thing. Like you had to get used to it for paintball, obviously.
Paintball's a different story. I think I'm wearing glasses for paintball. No question there.
But it's still like with that lens, it's just
true.
Having a lens in your face just makes everything just feels like third person.
Everything does. That's a good point. It feels like third person. Back to the video game discussion we had from our last episode, but that's definitely what it feels like too. All right. Well, let's go back into what we were discussing regarding meta, thanks to the glasses transition there. But we were talking about the pace of play going into 2026. And I just wanted to wrap up the point that we had, is that I think things are just plateauing in terms of the way that, hot paddles are working. Like there was that mod paddle, and then I think there's a gearbox paddle that was like flying off the face, and people were just driving the hell out of the ball. That was like early 2025. Point being, I think we're really hitting that plateau with these governing bodies of what is allowed, like you said, with like grit, exit velocity, or even our carbon waves. When we developed it, we were like, all right, let's get the max level exit velocity, and it rips, but it's not going to take your eye off necessarily. Point being, there's levels to it now, and there's standards. It's not as much as the Wild Wild West as it was at the beginning of the year, or now things, I think with that plateau, we're leaning back to more of a game where people are kind of testing crazy drives, crazy crashes, and speeding everything up. Whereas now we're kind of reverting back to a little bit of the old school pickleball. I think the meta in 2026 is going to be a lot more of the drops, the soft transition game, kind of going back to the 2022, 2023 level of pickleball. I think we're kind of trending that direction. That's just my thoughts of what I'm seeing and what's going to be most effective. Because the most important thing, obviously, is getting to the kitchen, whether it's a drive, whether it's a drop. I think the most effective way to get to the kitchen in 2026 will be from consistent drops, consistent resets, and consistent dinks, just getting up there and then planting. That's me. That's where I'm seeing things go now that things are slowing down paddle tech-wise, at least.
Yeah, I like that. I know with the lifetime ball, that thing is so quick. You can't hit anything dead. If you hit any dead dink, it bounces like waist high. So it's so easy to speed up. So you have to roll every ball. That's why in like the PPA, any dead dink, every ball gets sped up as is. But any dead dink, like if you try to just dink a ball to the middle, it gets sped up because it just bounces so high.
I didn't realize that. So I played lifetime just barely. I didn't realize it bounced so high, allowing for a high speed up. That's really interesting.
Everybody rolls every shot, resets, dinks, drops, everything, because it just bounces so high if you don't.
Will a slice, like a backhand slice dink, will it still bounce at a high, or does it kind of deaden?
If you slice like out wide, it'll be like more aggressive. But if you like slice to the middle, it'll bounce high.
Interesting.
Yeah, if you try to hit a dead dink with it, it just bounces.
You're dead,
high.
essentially.
Yeah.
You try to hit a dead dink and you're dead.
Yes, exactly.
So interesting. So dead dinks and you're dead. It's good to know. So that's another thing too. It's a whole separate conversation. Is the different ball you play with, and what the meta of the ball is, completely dictates and changes how you're playing your game. For example, I am driving a lot more if I'm playing with a lifetime. From the few times I have played with it, I will lead with a third shot drop maybe 60% of the time. If I'm playing with a Franklin, I'm dropping 90% of the time. I feel like it's just, you kind of have to lean in with what the tech is given to you. And that kind of just changes everything. And that's how sports metas work in general. It's a lot of it is technology based, and then it works from there. But let's chat more about other metas that are working into 2026. One of them I had in my list, and it's the drip shot. I don't feel like we see enough of the drip, and it's not something I use enough. But when I do use it, I see how crazy effective it is. For people that don't know, the drip, and we've talked about it before, is that drop drive combo. So you're not hitting that high arcing third shot drop, and you're not hitting a completely flat drive. It's a little bit in the middle. You're hitting almost like a drive at like 40%, for example, where it's going to be just going below net height. You're hitting it really soft, and you're forcing them to hit up on the ball, and it's allowing you to transition really effectively. It makes it really easy as well to set up that shake and bake if you wanted to get things a little fast and a little crazy, because they have to kind of hit back with a decent pace in the ball. Whereas like if you were to hit a third shot drop, it's really easy to just neutralize and just bunt it back. But when you're getting that drip at you, you kind of have to put a little bit of pace back into it. So I feel like the drip is going to be pretty common for that third, more so than we've ever seen going into the new year. But I don't know how much you use that yourself.
Yeah, I like that shot. If I drive it, I try to hit that, get it below the net. So I think that's an effective shot that'll keep up for sure.
I mean, and we talked about this before. What percentage are you hitting your drives? So are you going for that 80% of drive, or are you hitting that drip more often? Like what do you lean into more these days?
I'd say like 60 to 70%. I try to get it below the net. I'm very conscious about that. Where other people just close their eyes and grip it and rip it, I try to get it consciously soft and low.
Love it. Number one thing on my list for the 2026 meta, and I think this is kind of obvious, is lobbing. Lobbing is the future of pickleball, for better or worse. And I think it's going to suck for people that are 70 plus listening to this just due to mobility, because it's so hard to cover a lob. I mean, you might be 75 and you can be faster than me. You get my point. I'm just saying on average, the mobility of being able to cover a lob is very difficult. I get lobbed and it's so hard to cover that ball. There's so much space behind you. It's so hard to get around it, go plant, hit a drop back, or hit a rip back. It's not an easy shot to cover. I'm seeing it more and more lately. I'm still not experimenting with it. I don't know why. I think I'm just scared to hit it because I'm scared to get ripped back in the face or just hit a really awful pop-up. But we've seen, like I said recently, that Anna Bright in a recent match hit, I think, 18 lobs in a single match, and it's crazy. And I know you play against her too. Like, is she doing that against you? I feel like this has to be where the game is going for not only senior pro, but pro, rec, everything. It's such an effective shot, and it's so hard to defend.
Yeah, I think the lob is more relevant now because the paddles just are able to get more spin, so you can keep it in. Where if you're playing with like the old paddles, the Z5, which is Z5, what even is it? It's carbon fiber. You can't spin it, so like it just goes out, or your opponent's going to smash it. But with this, you can hit like an aggressive lob that lands in because you have spin now, or grit.
How much spin are you putting on your lobs because I feel like if you're taking that out of the air, you're just kind of bunt, like a lift bunt, per se.
Out of the air is different. I think off the bounce, a lot of spin. Out of the air, if it's low, a good amount of spin. If it's high, you just tap.
So to generate spin on that lob off the bounce then, which might be more effective with these spinnier paddles and the higher grit that we have, how are you hitting that? Are you just brushing up the side of it kind of the same way you would for a cross-court backhand dink, for example, if you were to hit a backhand lob off the bounce? Like, what does your technique look like, and how are you approaching that shot mentally too?
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. You just want to change your contact point to completely under the ball as opposed to around the ball, and then it's perfect. The same speed as a dink, just same contact point, but just completely under. Same exact form though. But contact point under, perfect. Yeah.
So it's not because like when we're talking about the cross court, it's like a cupping motion, but instead you're kind of cupping behind it and kind of
same thing, cupping. I'll just angle my body a little differently, but make sure I'm exaggerating hitting underneath of it. It's a tiny adjustment that is the answer to it.
So another shot is that I wanted to get into as well for 2026 meta is the transition rips, and I call this the dagger. So it's when you're in that transition zone. And I'm seeing higher level players do this more and more. And it's terrifying when it happens because you can't see it coming. People are planted, they come up, they split step in that reset transition zone. But instead of just sitting there and resetting, because you're locked in, your feet are on the mud, and people are going to be hitting back at you and try to go at your feet, right? But at the last second, you switch, you hit the dagger, and you're at the kitchen, you're flying through, and you're transitioning straight at that kitchen line. You have 1 foot forward, and you're just ripping a flick right at the person's body. I think that dagger shot is, we're going to be seeing so much more of it because it's a good fake out shot, and then it just keeps people really on their heels. But whenever I play against high level players, I see it more and more, and it scares the crap out of me. So I don't know how often you pull that ball. I'm not good at it. I feel like I can't do it. It's hard to pull off when you're transitioning fast into that kitchen line, but it's so effective when it's done well. I remember back when I was playing Anderson Scarpa when I was in Charleston, he does it all the time, and it scares the crap out of me. And it's a really, really, really effective shot. So I don't know how often you're working with that or how often you see that.
Yeah, I think that's a great shot. I try to use that a lot, especially when my partner hits the drop in front of me. Then I'll only sit backhand, so I'm really only just looking for that shot.
Yeah.
If it's to my forehand side, I'll just leave it for my partner. But super effective shot. I think everybody should do it. The key to it is you want to roll it. You don't want to flick it. If you flick it, you go into the net or long. You want to roll it, which it's much more control.
So how would you define the difference between a flick and a roll in this situation of hitting that dagger shot from the transition zone flowing forward?
The flick is like you're using all your wrist, whereas like the roll is like you're kind of using your arm.
Yeah.
Your paddle's more of like a guide, and then your arm's generating the power. Where the flick is like a lot of wrist, just brute force, but it's hard to control.
That's what I figured. No, it's a good clarification. Thank you. Yeah, you want to make sure that paddle face is consistent on that ball, like you said. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to hit that with any sort of consistency whatsoever. Other 2026 meta, I feel like it's going to be backhand rolls only when we're going cross court to cross court. We're seeing that obviously late going into 2025 here. And we're seeing junior players. This is the tell too of how metas will develop, is what the junior players are doing as well, since these junior players are so good and pickleball is still in such an early stage, is that these juniors are able to kind of dictate and learn from what these top players are doing and develop that into their own game. So they're almost the ones a lot of the time setting the meta, which is kind of the opposite for other sports, just because pickleball is so new. Anyway, we're seeing that almost every junior player is doing this for a reason, and we're seeing a small percentage or a good percentage of top pros do this as well, is that backhand, sharp, heavy roll, that James Ignatowicz, Connor Garnett, Ryan Fu style roll. And I know you're doing it a lot too, but there's just so much pressure that's created from that shot versus just that consistent backhand slice dink.
Yeah, I think people hitting the roll, it's different variety. It causes more pop-ups. It's top spin. You can kind of take control and dictate and then maybe get an attack out of the air from it. Whereas the slice is more of a passive approach. The roll is more of an aggressive approach. So I think being able to mix them up and kind of catch your opponents off guard if they're expecting one but the other comes is the key.
Yep. Agreed. And then the last one is big right side players. We've been seeing this a little bit more lately, but I think it's going to be even more common. This is my favorite style of player to work with too, is I like to play a small left and work with a big right. I think that big right is able to really dictate where that ball is moving in the kitchen, being able to take dinks out of the air and move them around very effectively. Or that left side player can really sit on their forehand and then be able to create as much offense as they can from that smaller spot. We see that now with some of the best players in the world. It's Gabe Tardio is playing more of that big right presence. I mean, Ben isn't shrunk to the left by any means, but it's bigger than most right side players. And same thing with Christian Alshon playing with Andre Dasco. He's playing a very big right side presence versus what we saw early 2025, where the right side player is just stuck to their corner, resetting, being consistent, and then the left side player is creating all the offense. So now that right side player is playing a much larger role, and I think they're going to be doing that throughout all of 2026. And it's really hard to play against these styles because there's a lot more shrinkage of the kitchen and kitchen coverage, setting up more earnies and really closing the margins in so many areas of the court. They're really hard to play against. I love having that style of partnership. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I think that's where we're really heading for this next year too.
Yeah, I completely agree. The people used to play like the small right side due to the paddle technology. You couldn't speed up off the bounce a year, 2 years ago, just because it was so The paddles just had no grit. It was very difficult to keep the ball in play. Whereas now, I mean, it makes complete sense. The right-siders speed up a lot. It makes a lot more sense because their forehands out wide. You have so many options to be tricky and deceptive because you can speed up off the bounce. But like with the old days, it doesn't matter if your forehand's out there. You can't attack it, so you have to be slow. But now, having that forehand out wide, you can be super deceptive because you can speed up off the bounce strictly because of the paddles. I think it just took a little longer for people to adapt because the game hasn't fully adjusted. And then once people realized that, then it started to pick up.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's really well said. So for one of my other questions I thought of was for our listeners is if someone wants to stay ahead of the curve going to this next year, what should they be really practicing and focusing on this off season during the holidays here as they transition into 2026? What should be one of the main things that will separate themselves moving forward when they go back to playing with their local groups?
I think everybody should really focus and be able to handle speed and provide speed. I think that the default strategy of most players, since everybody can hit hard now, is going to be just to rip the ball. And until you show the opponent that you can handle it, I think they're just going to keep ripping it at you. And I think that should be your strategy too. I mean, if you can win a point with one drive as opposed to 20 dinks, obviously you're going to choose the one drive all day. So I think having both styles in your pocket and being able to adjust depending on the team is what you should do, and really make sure that you can handle it so you just don't get bullied like that and make people resort to dropping.
And how do you typically handle pace? I mean, I think that's a good point, and we have some other episodes that are structured around this a little bit more. But if you were to give one key piece of advice for handling pace and making people fear you for when they're trying to, rip the ball at you and just pick on you and bully you, like what are the ways to turn the tide back to them and off of your back?
You have to attack back, and if you make a lot of mistakes attacking back, it's because your paddle position is too close to your body. If somebody's hitting the ball hard, you don't want to have any timing issues. So what I would do if somebody's driving it, I just have my paddle, my elbow almost fully locked out. So all I have to do is meet the ball as opposed to produce power, and then I'll produce the power with my wrist as opposed to my elbow. The issue comes from when you're producing with your elbow. There's too much of a lag time that'll cause the ball to go into the net or long.
So wait, how do you determine to produce that power? Just to reiterate, between wrist and elbow, like, can you explain that in further detail? Because that's an interesting concept of when to apply what. Is it more wrist on the slower balls where you can really kind of flick it, and then elbow for a faster ball where you're hitting more defensive, just like simplistic form? Is that fair to say?
I think if somebody has a real powerful drive that I'm intimidated by or think that it could give me issues, I'm going to make sure that I meet the ball fully out in front with my elbow practically locked. And then as I make contact to the ball, I hit through with my wrist. Where if somebody has a drive that doesn't really intimidate me and I really want to punish them, as they drive it, I'll have my paddle position closer to my body. When I make contact to the ball, I'll unleash and unhinge my elbow, fully extending, and then snap through with my wrist to provide double the power.
That makes sense. So you're literally just going through full swing then per se to make sure you're putting as much power behind that as possible.
Right.
Got it. Okay. So for you personally then, what are some things that you are going to be working on going into 2026? Like what are you, like, let's take a step back.
Yeah.
You're at a great spot in your career. You obviously want to, have some consistent goals in APP and maybe go into PPA like we talked about previously and compete against the best of the best. What are some things that you are looking to do to really take that next step, lean into that 2026 meta and separate yourself from people that aren't, thinking that critically ahead?
My goal that I've been actively working on for the past few weeks is to be very dangerous. So normally the patterns...
Your goal is to be dangerous. I like that.
Dangerous.
You just look in the mirror. I'm going to be dangerous this year.
Exactly. So the patterns in pickleball are normally left to left because it's two backhands like dinking to each other. There's not really a threat for offense. However, whenever one player hits a good slice or a roll dink, the other left side player normally bails out down the line. Whenever I get that ball that's bailed out down the line, every time it's a dead dink. So I want to be able to create and punish the opponents off that. So I'm working on earning more, speeding up off the bounce off both sides, and really just making the opponents think whenever the ball's hit to me, I'm going to do something or attack it. That's what makes Hayden and Gabe so good. Everybody dinks with Ben Johns because they don't want to bail out to Gabe because he's going to speed up. So kind of just being able to adapt that style, I think is the key to make myself more of a threat.
I love that. That's a good point too regarding the when things get hot backhand to backhand for the left side players. That the common bailout is just kind of that neutral dink forward, kind of straight ahead or towards the middle. I do that all the time because when I get a really high pressure dink, I just kind of want to step back, reset, and just kind of bunt it forward. And I'm hitting that dead dink a lot, especially when I'm playing players that roll well. So you're going to be that guy that's going to be like,
just going to fire it at your face.
Fire it at my face.
I'm kidding. But yeah, I want to be just where they're like, oh God, like I don't want to go there because he's going to attack it. I'm just going to start attacking every ball.
Yeah, because there's some players you could just bunt that ball back to and nothing's going to happen. But you're going to
I'm
be
that player
guy.
right now. That's why I'm trying to fix that. Yeah.
So what are you going to do? Just kind of constantly drill like speed ups in different spots and be able to hit the exact like dialed in point that you need to? Is that kind of what's going to separate you for that? Like, how are you going to work on that specifically? Like, what are you doing in the lab?
It's not so much of like hitting a specific spot. It's being able to like read where your opponent sits. So like the IQ per each player, and then having the combo. So I know like, okay, I speed up here, following up the second ball. The main thing I'm working on is speeding up, following up the second ball. That's really the separator that like the real good guys are good at. And I know that's where I lack at.
Understood. Well, I'm glad that's going to be your focus. You know, it's always good to have that focus. If you don't have a focus of like what you need to be working on, you're doing something wrong. You're not
exactly.
You think you're too good. No one's that good. You gotta have that. You also did a video, I think, just recently regarding the like things to go into on 2026 in terms of improving your game, kind of related to the meta as well. Is there anything that we didn't discuss here that you mentioned in your video that would be worth discussing here?
I think we got everything. The main things were like the number one was the drip. No. Number one was drive drop combo.
Well, that's the drip.
Kind of like,
What's the difference?
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if there was a difference. I thought that was the drip. Okay. Okay. Anything else?
No, I think what I was referring to is like drive the first ball and then drop the second ball as opposed to hit a winner. But same thing. But the other one was like, just make sure you have fast, confident hands. Make sure you have big returns. I think we kind of hit all the points.
No, I mean, big returns are actually huge too. I think that's actually a good point in terms of where the game needs to go is if you're not returning heavy and you're just returning passive, take a look in the mirror because that is so important. It's going to shorten rallies. You're going to have so much. Your next shot after that will be 20,000 times easier. Your fourth or whatever it is. So yeah, heavy returns. I love going cross court no matter what. So especially if I'm on the left side, I'm going cross court to the other person's backhand all day long. You have so much room to work with. You can hit out as hard as you can. Just rip heavy, really work on that. Training singles actually helps a lot with your return of serve. So do some singles work just to practice for fitness purposes. I need to do more of that as well for staying as sharp athletically as I can. And then also there's little areas too. So I'm going to be working on a lot of that going into the new year. However, for your New Year's resolution, Tanner, do you have a New Year's resolution? Are you a New Year's resolution guy? Some people hate it. Some people love it and they really are obsessed with it. Me, I'm not a big New Year's resolution. I was going to say, I'm not a big New Year's resolution guy. However, going into 2026, I really want to, my resolution is to kick off my own coaching business where it's simplistic. Nice. It's nothing big. It's just more so creating a network where I'm really dialing in and coaching in the Los Angeles scene. So I just love helping people improve their game. So I really want to start my own side business, whether it's related to Carbon or related to Pickleball Cheat Code or something separately. Regardless, once I get settled here, can't wait to be settled back fully in SoCal and really dialing in on that. So I'll have some announcements about that hopefully soon. But that's really what I want to dial in on this next year is more of the coaching side on top of obviously getting some more main draw presences as well. But what did you got?
I like yours. I think my New Year's resolution is going to be to post a video every day of 2026.
Every day. Did you do that this year?
Yeah, I've done that the past 850 days. So I'm going to keep it going.
So your New Year's resolution is a New Year's old illusion. God, that's such a stupid thing to say. I take that back. I hate that I just said that. But point being, you're going to keep Tanner going. You're going to keep doing the same Tanner. All right. Do you think you're going to do it?
Yeah, I have no problem with it. I think I'll be going to As long as I play pickleball, I post a video every day. When I don't play
I love
pickleball,
it.
that's when I'll stop posting a video.
Your content's great. I mean, some of it's, I mean, a lot of what we focus on here is more higher level stuff. A lot of the time, I mean, we do some fundamental focus a lot on this pod too, which is obviously very important no matter what level you're at. But same thing with your tips that you give on IG and your tips that you have on YouTube. They're so important. There's so many things that I'm so glad that I'm reminded of, and then things that I need to like learn from. It's all amazing stuff. So if you're not dialing into Tanner's content, please follow him on IG, YouTube, everything. I genuinely mean that. Your tips are like paramount for me improving my game, and it's just
Thank
it's
you.
very no. It's seriously for any level, no matter your level, it's very effective. I swear, any level.
Thank you.
That's all I got. Well, Tanner, I hope you have a great new year. I'll see you next year. It's been real. We've had a great 2025 launching Pickleball Cheat Code. It's been a fun year. I'm excited to see where this podcast will go, all the new things we'll talk about, all the new adventures, all the tournaments that we're going to play, whether it's here together in the US, me and you winning an APP gold. God, I'm getting ahead of myself. I can already hear it. Or us going to Asia like we talked about. I'm excited. We're going to have a fun year. We don't know what's going to come, but a lot of great things are going to be ahead of us.
Man, I like it. I'll see you there.
All right. See you there, buddy. Bye.